Chris, welcome. And real fast, will you tell us a little bit of your background?
Thanks so much, Cam. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. Yeah, so I started my marketing business back 2020, 2013. So I was a public school teacher before I did marketing. I taught special ed, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was in college, like most people. And usually you take a year or two and figure it out, but I took about like 4 years, and then it got to like halfway through the fourth year. I was like, all right, I got to really figure out what I want to do. And I was a wrestler. I wrestled Division 1 at Rutgers, and I said, hey, I don't really know what I want to do. I don't want to wear a suit and tie and go into the city and do that whole thing, work for like some big corporate entity. So I said, I guess I'll just be a teacher and coach wrestling. And that's all I really want to do is coach. But as soon as I started teaching, I was like, oh man, this is really like not for me. Nothing against the profession. It just, I remember there was this one moment when you get this little booklet and it's your contract and it has the steps. Like every year you go up one step and then you get a salary raise. It might be 1,000 or 2,000 or $3,000. And it was like, I saw every dollar I would ever earn in my entire life on that one sheet of paper. And I calculated it all up and I was like, I don't know if I like that number. I was like, maybe we could change that. So back in 2013, I knew people were making money on the internet. And I didn't like know how that all worked or like what was going on there, but I was like, I know there's people who do this. So I was like, let me try to figure this whole thing out. So I started making like these like niche websites, and I had a few like strength training websites because I was always into like lifting and strongman and powerlifting and that kind of stuff. Kind of fumbled my way through with like Weebly websites like back in the day, all this stuff. And eventually I had this wrestling coaching website because no one was doing this. And I was doing podcasts with all these top coaches and was sending daily emails and selling affiliate offers. And, everything was harder back then in 2013, like the technology, the software. But I started to make a few affiliate sales sending daily emails. And this was before I even knew what like marketing really was or copywriting really was. And eventually I kind of got a little bit burnt out, and I said, oh, well, there's this thing called copywriting that I learned about where there's these people who just hand someone a Google document with a bunch of words in it and they get paid thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And I was like, wow, sign me up. Like, let me really, out of all the things I was doing, I said, if you mean to tell me that I could turn words into money, I was like, that idea, I was just enamored. I was like, what is this sorcery, right? Like, how does this even work? So I started working for clients. I started working for all different types of businesses, some big time digital publishing businesses. John Asraf was one of my first clients. He's in that movie, The Secret, really big personal development author. And then I started working with, I think my first meat company was probably back in like 2015. It was this company out of the UK called Athlete. I don't know if they're around anymore, but this was like very early days of the DTC scene. And I was writing emails and selling meat. And it was actually kind of fun. And I remember one of the first emails I wrote for them was Horse Meat Horror Story. And it was the story that came out in the UK about they would label, you'd buy meat from the grocery store and it would be labeled as 100% ground beef, and they would actually be mixing in horse meat and God knows what else. And so I told that story. That one did really well. And I started to realize like, oh, it's not just like, hey, we have beef for sale. Hey, we have meat. It's like you could tell a story and influence people and persuade people and let them see the light about the products that they're buying, and they will buy more as a result. So over the years, I just started working with a lot of different kinds of clients, like I said, all different types of businesses. But around 2019, 2020, I started to really focus in on e-commerce, direct to consumer brands, and started to actually work with a lot more meat companies. I helped launch Carnivore Snacks, which some people might know. I helped them. We were pre-revenue. We did an initial Kickstarter launch, made 200K in 30 days. And now they're an 8-figure, soon to be multiple 8-figure brand. We'll see how this year ends up, but they're going to be pretty close. They might hit it. And then I've just been working with, a lot of companies in the meat space, and it's a lot of fun because people love buying meat online, and there's a lot of good operations out there, a lot of good regenerative operations that sell really awesome products. And I think that the world needs more of it. And I think we're kind of in this like war right now. It's a war because there's a lot of people out there in the world. I feel like compelled to help people in this industry because you got all these bioethicists and climate people who are saying meat is the problem, and it's like I don't even know if these people have even heard of regenerative agriculture and what it does. Like I don't think they even know. And it's kind of like they're using the full weight of billions of dollars worth of media distribution and propaganda machines to brainwash people thinking that meat is terrible for you. And actually, it's one of the most healthiest things that you could do. And if everyone actually ate more meat, I think we'd have a much healthier world. So I really feel compelled to help people in the space just because this is one of those things. It's not like we're selling sunglasses or something where it's like, oh, cool. Like, who cares? Like this is actually something that I feel like can change society and civilization in the world.
Hmm. Amazing. Love it. Let's dive right the heck in. Yeah, you're speaking our language. For everyone that's watching, listening, so I came across Chris. Actually, he came in, did a training for our audience a couple years ago now. Has it been that long?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then I was at dinner a few months ago with one of the kind of the legendary copywriters, Paris Lampropoulos. And Paris drops. If you don't know who Paris is, Google him. You might need to ask Google how to spell it, but Paris Lampropoulos, he's one of the greats. And Paris drops Chris's name. I'm like, I know that guy. And so then I reach out to Chris, like, Chris, we got to have you come in and teach. And in the meantime, Chris has also worked with some of our friends, some of our clients, and he has helped them produce just outstanding results. So that's why Chris is serious, because not only is he an expert, but he has a track record to prove it, and he's helped people that we know and care about. And so today, Chris is going to share some of these. He calls them magic tricks. Some of it is mindset, some of it's belief, some of it is just understanding the opportunity that's right in front of us, right? The power and potency of just building a list and communicating with people consistently over time and giving them an opportunity to say yes to buying your products. So, Chris, what's the first thing that you want to share with us? Teach us.
Yeah. So the first thing um, that I want to share with everyone is that there's this mentality like if you build it they will come, and that is not true in business at all. And I think that's the one thing that holds a lot of people back. I think if you open up a coffee shop in the middle of a bustling downtown, you'll probably do okay just through sheer location and placement, right? And in terms of like generating traffic, it's like there's foot traffic walking by every day, right? So it's kind of easy. But when you have a regenerative ranch, when you have a farm, um, you have to drive traffic and you have to capture people's attention. You actually have to do things to drive business forward. And it sounds like it's a big task. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it does take a little bit of effort because you could have the best meat in the world, but it's like that, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound. It's like you might have the best beef in the world, but if no one knows it exists, are you going to sell any of it? And like, probably not. I mean, unless you really just get lucky one day, someone just driving by and they're a celebrity and they find you and then they post about it on their Instagram. But that's not something you can control. It's not something you can count on. So what I try to do with people is create systems that they could use on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis that drive business. And there's two parts of making any kind of direct consumer business work. There's acquisition and there's retention. So acquisition just simply means finding ways to drive leads, to drive lead flow, to drive traffic to your site, to in person, but just using the power of advertising and or organic social media to get people's attention and give them reason to visit your site or to sign up for your email list or to buy a product. And the retention is the back end stuff. It's like once you've generated a lead or you generated a customer, how do you continue to sell them more stuff? The cool thing with meat is that meat is not like a one-time purchase. Like someone who eats meat is probably going to eat meat on a weekly, if not daily basis every day for the rest of their lives. I mean, I eat probably a pound to a pound and a half every single day myself, and I have for years, and I don't think I'll ever stop. I can't ever see that happening, right? So we have an advantage in this industry where it's not like you're trying to sell, a pair of jeans and someone buys one pair every year. It's like people are always buying this stuff. So there's cash flowing always in this industry. All you need to do is just siphon it into your direction, because if you don't find ways to acquire customers and retain those customers, it's going to go to a subpar producer, right? There's a lot of people out there in this industry who cut corners. They inject their cattle with all types of nasty stuff. They spray atrazine everywhere. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of just bad practices, and people are going to buy that stuff unless you give them a reason not to. So what I would say is, at a very basic level, it's like, what are you doing on a daily basis to acquire new customers and new leads? And what are you doing to sell to your existing base of people? What you have to understand is with marketing, marketing is very simple, right? There you could either sell to someone else's list or you could sell to your existing list. Ideally, you'll do both, right? But when I say lists, I say, okay, Facebook has 2.6 billion users, give or take, right? They own a list of 2.6 billion people. If you want to market to people on Facebook, you either have to pay Facebook for that privilege or you have to put in some sweat equity in terms of creating content, creating videos, posting Instagram reels. And those are good things to do, but you have to invest. You have to pay Facebook or Google or any of these other platforms to get some of that attention over to you, right? And that's fine and that's good to do. And there's ways to engineer that to be profitable. But you're as long as if you're not paying attention to building your own list and your own following, your own audience, you're always going to have to rely on other people's lists in order to acquire business. So what I like having people that I work with do is advertisements and organic social content. And if you could do those two things on a daily basis, you are going to get traffic and you're going to make sales. And it's really not super hard to do. I mean, all the farms that I work with, we always run Facebook ads. And a lot of people, sometimes people are afraid or they want to acquire customers without having to spend money on ads. But the thing is with ads is that if you could put $1 into an ad and you make $2 back, $5 back, $10 back, who cares if you had to pay, right? Like, I mean, where else can you get that kind of a return? Like, you can't get that. What stock are you going to get that return in, right? Like, you can't even get that in private equity most times, or at least not on that compressed of a timeline, right? You could put $1 into Facebook today and get $10 back the very same day. Like, you cannot achieve that kind of return with that kind of velocity anywhere outside of advertising. I mean, I think it's not with crypto. I mean, I can't think of anything. Can you, Cam? Like, there's nothing faster in terms of a return velocity than there is with advertising. Because what happens is people, they are afraid to do this. But what they don't realize is people buy meat offline every single day. I mean, people have been buying meat not from grocery stores, right? Think about Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks has been around for decades now. I don't even know when they were first founded, but I remember all the time. Still nowadays, I get stuff in the mail from Omaha Steaks. I get direct mail letters. I get postcards, right? They have a website. I don't think there's. I could be wrong. I don't think there's an Omaha Steak store. I've never seen one around where I live in New Jersey. But how are they acquiring? They are spending money on ads. They know if we spend X amount on ads, we will make Y amount in sales, and we'll get this many customers, and then we can just sell those customers other things. So the first thing is like, don't be afraid of advertising. Don't be afraid of putting yourself out there because you will acquire customers just by driving traffic if you have good stuff.
Okay, so what's step one? I mean, I agree, concur wholeheartedly with everything. What's step one? How do people build a list? What is the mechanism or what's the thing that they need to go do? Are they creating content? Because we can divide this into building your own list and then marketing to your own list, marketing to somebody else's list. But what would you recommend? What's step one to building your list?
I think the first thing that you could do starting today, as soon as you listen to this, is you can go out on the farm with your phone and you're gonna pull up the video recorder and you're just going to record videos about what's going on. And people overcomplicate this. They're like, oh my God, I need to create social media content. Like, that sounds difficult. I'm like, good content is documentation. It's not creation, right? You document, you don't create. And you are doing stuff every single day in your business that is interesting to people, right? Because you have to understand the average person is stuck behind a computer all day. They're living in Slack, they're living in Microsoft Teams, they're living in an Excel sheet, and they stare at an Excel sheet for 8 hours a day. It's the most boring thing in the world, right? So when they pull up their phone, like, why are they pulling up their phone and going to Instagram or going to Facebook or going to Twitter or going to LinkedIn? They're going because they're looking for an escape, right? And if they see you out there with your cows, with your animals, out, on horseback riding through your land, like, that is interesting and that is cool and that is exciting to them, right? So all you have to do is just like, the one thing everyone can do is just film an Instagram video every single day or put it on Instagram and Facebook and your other social channels and just talk to people about what you're doing. It's like, hey, we're rotating the cattle today. Hey, we're harvesting today. Hey, we're doing blah blah blah. Hey, we're whatever, right? Like, whatever's going on in your business, that's going to be interesting to people. And then what's going to happen is it's the algorithm is going to show it to people, and some of those people are already in your existing audience, but there's a good chance that some of that is going to get picked up and be shown to people who have never heard of you before, right? And it's not going to make you $100 million overnight, but what it will do is it will start getting you in the habit of creating marketing messages that drive people to your site and to your list. The other thing you could do is get an opt-in up, a pop-up or something on your website where There's some kind of incentive. One that I've done for a lot of e-commerce companies, not just in meat, but also just any kind of product, is can you give away a gift card every month for your online store and say, hey, $50, we do a $50 giveaway every month at your email here. It's not like a $50 Amazon gift card where any random person is going to sign up because they want that. It's like, hey, you're signing up so you can win a gift card to spend money on the online store, right? So there's congruency there. There's a lot of different offers you could do. That's an easy one that always seems to work, and it gets high quality people, and it tends to excuse me, capture a lot of people coming in. But that's how your list will start to grow. And then the last thing you can do, which is a bit more advanced, but it's really not super hard, is you spend 30 minutes on YouTube. You look at a Facebook ad tutorial because there's got to be 100,000 videos like that that teach you how to do Facebook ads in like 10 minutes. And you install the pixel on your site and you get an ad up and you can start spending 10 or 20 bucks a day. You don't have to spend a crazy amount of money. It's not like you're buying a TV advertisement. You got to spend $10,000 and wait 3 weeks for it to run. You could start spending 10, 20 bucks a day. And what's cool is most of the products on your site probably have a high enough average order value where if someone buys a $200 box and you only spent 20 bucks on ads, well, that's a 10x return, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen every day at the outset, but you could at least start driving people to your site and geofence it, right? So say, okay, I live in Indiana. I deliver within a 6-hour radius. So you put a 6-hour radius around your location on Facebook, and it's going to show it to all the people who are interested in meat in your area. So Facebook knows. Facebook knows. They know who your people are, right? It's not going to show it to vegans, so you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to show it to people who never buy meat. It's going to show it to people who love buying meat, in particular who love buying meat online because they have all that data. And what you could do is, if you're profitable, then you just simply spend more, right? And you don't have to jump to spending $10,000 a day. I mean, you eventually could, and there are some operations that do that, but you have to do something to drive traffic because you have the products, you have the inventory, it's all there. All you need is the eyeballs. You need people on site to be like, I like meat. This looks interesting. This looks higher quality than what I'm buying at the grocery store, and I want to buy some.
Amazing. So let's jump right to a specific example. So we won't share numbers, even though you and I both know the numbers. But Josh and Jesse, we won't even share last names. I think everybody, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, right? Chris and I both know these these guys, and we know what they've done. And Chris has been a really important part of their success. And over a very short period of time, I think it was less than a week, was it? Multiple 6 figures in less than a week. And it kind of came about through posting organically, right? So what we would call earned media. So yes, they ran ads, but also they're posting on their social channels. Can you walk us through, like, what was it about their videos that, or their, let's say, the strategy that you advised them on that allowed them to A, go viral, and B, actually be able to pull in those sales and not just get eyeballs?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do with every client is I try to find like what is their dream come true objective, right? And every ranch is obviously a little bit different. Some only do beef, some do all different kinds of proteins, some take a 4 quarters instead of 100 pennies approach to customer acquisition, which just simply means like they'd rather sell cow shares rather than selling, a 5 pound or 10 pound box of ground beef. And there's no right or wrong answer. That's the thing. It really is whatever you want. But this company, this ranch, they wanted to sell a lot of cow shares because that was kind of their bread and butter. So I said, okay, what is the number one objection that people have to buying a cow share? And the number one objection that always comes up is people say, I'd love to buy 400, 500 pounds of beef from you in one sitting. I would absolutely love to do that. But I have nowhere to put it. I can't fit it in my freezer, right? That's always the number one objection. So and this is a very useful exercise, but it's like if you list out all the objections and find the number one objection, how do you flip the number one objection and make it the strongest selling point for the product itself, right? In this case, we said, hey, if you give us $5,000 and get a whole cow share, we will buy the freezer for you. We'll fill it with beef and we'll ship it to you, right? So now the number one objection that people had that was stopping them from buying became the number one reason to buy. And we put that into an ad, and the average order value on a $5,000 purchase, obviously high enough. It doesn't cost $5,000 in ads to acquire a customer like that. I don't remember the exact amount, but I think those ads were getting 20x ROAS, give or take. I mean, some weeks it was a little bit higher, some weeks it went down to like 13. But even then, like you talk to people in the e-commerce space, a 13x ROAS on the low end is it's unheard of. Like you can't get if you can get to 5, most times people are jumping for joy, and that's really pushing it.
So let's explain ROAS, right?
Yeah, so it's return on ad spend, right? It's that equation of like I put $100 into ads and I made $1,300 back, right?
Mhm.
So it's what is the spread, right? Or sorry, what is the multiple of what your ad spend was? And if you have high value products like that, if you're selling like 1 pound of ground beef at a time, you're probably going to lose money on ads, right? But if you're selling a $200 box, a $300 box, a $500 an eighth share, a quarter share, a half share, a whole share, you have margin to work out, right? You have margin to make the numbers work, right? Because if someone's giving you, $2,500, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, it's not going to take $3,000 to acquire that customer.
Mhm.
Um, it's really not. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't. It's because maybe 30 years in the future it will with inflation and everything else, but for right now it doesn't. We've just seen that time and time again with a number of different ranches. So it's like we use that as the front end, and then they started talking about the promotion in their Instagram videos, and they were starting to get some traction. They did have actually two videos that went like mega viral. I don't know why they went viral, to be completely honest with you. I wish I could deconstruct it, but sometimes that just happens. And what I told Jesse and Josh was, I said, you're just going to post a video every single day, and we're just going to see what happens, right? Because it's an action you can control. People always have goals. They have, I want to make this much, I want to sell this much beef, I want to grow to this level. Goals are cool, but you can't control a goal. But what you can control are the systems you do, the things that you do, the habits that you do every day in your business on a daily and weekly and monthly basis. That's stuff that you can control and tweak. So what I said was, you're going to post a video every day. We're going to have these ads running every day, and then you're going to start emailing your existing list and sell to those people who you already have. And just those three things created an absolute explosion. Obviously, we got a ton of traction with those viral videos, but even before those videos went viral, they were selling tens of thousands of dollars worth of product every single day just from the videos they were posting to their existing small audience of 2,200 people or whatever it was. So you don't need huge numbers to put up huge revenue. Especially if you're working with cow shares, which are enormous AOV for the online space.
Mhm. Love it. It's all gold. I think we should point out too that these guys, it wasn't the perfect execution. It was like they very much have always lived this principle of like done is better than perfect, right? Like the video production quality.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just like Jesse is just filming these on his phone, right? And some very minimal editing, right? It's like taking out the beginning, maybe taking out the end, maybe cutting out the sneeze in the middle, and then uploading it.
Yeah, I mean, and the ugly videos actually tend to work better. Even for like large scale, multi 8 figure, 9 figure brands, a lot of times they have these expensive ad agencies and they'll test out like polished videos that are well produced, that are produced by like a professional versus just cell phone videos from themselves or from an influencer. And a lot of times the ugly videos will actually outperform. And I've done this myself where I'll just pull out my camera and the lighting's a little bit weird and my voice sounds a little bit funny. And I don't care. I just film it and you pop it up because it's real and it's raw. And the art of getting it done is more important, like you just said. It's more important than getting it perfect. You could do the perfection stuff later when you have millions of dollars of free cash flow. Fine, hire a video editor, whatever. But you don't need that stuff. And it's crazy how it works. And you don't need to necessarily understand the theory of why it works. Just know that it does work. Like, how many videos do you watch on a daily basis on social media where it's just some person with their phone? If it's a good offer, if it's interesting content, people will watch it. And the production value is the thing that stops people, but it's not going to make you more money to make your stuff look nice. I don't. I mean, maybe in some cases, if you're Louis Vuitton, maybe sure, right? But we're not Louis Vuitton. We don't have we don't have to worry about that, right? Like, yes, we are selling a premium, somewhat luxury product. I guess that's one way you could look at it, but just being real and raw and being yourself, it's easy to be yourself, right? It's very hard in marketing to try to be someone else or try to copy someone else. But if you're just yourself, the right kind of people are going to like you and flock to you. And again, done is better than perfect, right? So if you just get out there and start putting out content and start testing stuff out, what also is going to happen, what I've noticed is like, especially with daily content creation, is that it forces yourself to get good. And it's kind of like if you go to the gym like 1 day a week, or excuse me, 1 day a month, and I go 5 days a week, I'm going to improve like 20 times faster than you. I'm going to be 20 times in better shape than you because you're going once a month and I'm going 5 times a week, right? It's the same thing with content. Like if you're doing it every day, a part of you is going to be like, hey, how do I make this better next time? Right. And you don't have to do leaps and bounds in terms of improvement. You just need to make it 1% better every single day. And you learn every day and you generate a feedback loop with your audience and they start to ask questions. And then when they ask questions, okay, tomorrow's video, I'll answer that question. And then other people ask other questions. Tomorrow's video, I'll answer that question. And all you have to do is just answer questions and show what's going on and make offers and say, by the way, if you're interested in a cow share, if you're interested in our sampler boxes, if you're interested in this whatever product, we have some on our website. Click the link in my bio and go grab it. It's not hard. It's hard to actually do it because you're afraid. Part of it is the fear of failure, but part of it also, what I find is it's the fear of success. What happens if I do this and it actually works? Am
Mhm.
I equipped? Am I mentally equipped? Am I emotionally equipped for that? And oftentimes, those are the things that you might not realize are stopping you, but that's what stops a lot of people because they're not ready to step into that next level. But the thing is, with the stuff that we sell, like think about how you're helping people. Think about the change you're making in people's lives when they actually have healthier food and they're living healthier lives and they're reversing conditions that they've been dealing with, and or they're losing weight or they're getting in better shape or their kids are healthier and smarter and growing faster, right? Like a lot of times everything you want in life is on the other side of your fear, and it's just getting over that and saying I have a bigger mission than, I can't play small, I can't be scared, I can't let this stop me, because 100 people will get an idea, there'll be thousands of people listening to this podcast, maybe 1% of people will actually go out and do this, and those are the people who are going to reap all the rewards from it.
Mhm. Amazing. This is so good. I was going to take us down some more tactics, but I think we got to talk more mission, vision, values, impact, because this is a message that our audience needs to continually hear and have reinforced, is how necessary and needed they are in the marketplace, right? That and not only are they needed, and not only does the work that they're doing really matter and have a real impact on real people and helping them transform their lives, but if not them, then who? Right? And
Mhm.
they're needed, and there's room in the marketplace. I think I don't recall who said it. Maybe Jason Fladley in his book on webinars, but that the top of the mountain is rarely crowded. There are very few people that are putting in the time to get the skill, to acquire the skill to do the thing well, which in this case marketing, and then B, very few people that are actually appropriately pricing their products to position them at the top of the mountain as a premium product. And so maybe you could speak a little bit to this fear that people have. The majority of producers at one time or another have this fear of raising prices or of charging what they really think their product is worth, or even just what they need to actually make a living.
Yeah. So first thing you have to understand is that no one is coming to save you. No one's coming. The cavalry is not coming, right? So once you accept that fact into your life, you realize that you are the one who's going to save yourself and you are the one who is in control of your destiny. Now, when you think about pricing and when you think about selling at the higher end of the market, you can do that. You just have to give people a different reason to buy. What most people do, you go into the grocery store, right? And they got ground beef at, I think I'd buy, I don't know if it's really grass fed. There's some brand in my local supermarket I've seen, and it's 7.99 a pound, and you might be selling at 12, right? And you think, well, how do I compete with that? Well, if you're just competing on price, you're going to lose, right? So I'm a big fan of the show Mad Men, and there's this one quote from that Don Draper says, and he says, "If you don't like what people are saying, you change the conversation, right? And you have the ability to change the conversation, right? If everyone's talking about price, you talk about something else. It's like, yeah, that meat that you see, that quote unquote greenwashed New Zealand grass-fed meat that they have to put on a big cargo ship and ship across the ocean and do whatever else to in the process." What you don't realize is that the reason why that meat is so cheap is because they are mass producing it. They do not have strict industry controls. They might be injecting those cattle with mRNA vaccines, with any number of other antibiotics, steroids, a number of other things that will never be disclosed. So if you don't want to eat that stuff, you pay a couple extra dollars more, and you know that you are guaranteed a superior product that's going to have a superior taste. It's going to have a superior quality. It's going to cook better. It's going to have more nutrient density because it's raised on better soil, right? So if you start talking about those things, then people say, okay, the price is less important. Actually, I don't want all that nasty stuff. I want the good stuff, right? So you completely eliminate the price objection. Um, there's within any market, it's like, there's Walmart and then there's Whole Foods, right? And then there's Erewhon, which maybe it's Walmart and Erewhon, that California grocery store, which I think they charge like $25 for a smoothie or something. Like they're like almost like blatantly obscene with their pricing because that's just their style, right? And you could choose which one of those types of operations you want to be, right? You could compete on the price, but you don't have to, because within any market there are people who will only buy based on price, but those don't have to be your customers. Like someone's got to sell to those customers, but you don't have to sell to those customers. There's millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people here in the US who eat meat and who are interested in quality meat, right? A lot of them. It's like, how many customers do you need, right? there's so many people who are just looking for a reason to buy a superior product. And there's people out there in terms of just pricing psychology, like me personally, if I'm presented with three options, I'm automatically going to pick the highest price one because I just know I might not know why it's the highest price, but I just know that there's a reason why this is two times more expensive than the lowest one, and it's got to be a quality thing. And there's a lot of people wired like me. It might not be 100% of people, but it's a large percent of people who they want the best. I mean, there's people who make so much money and like $5,000 for a year's worth of meat for their family is a drop in the bucket. They might spend $5,000 a month on car leases. You know what I mean? Like I live here in New Jersey. I live in like northern New Jersey, so it's like everyone's a finance bro. All these people work in the city, they have these big jobs. Like that's not a lot of money. And depending obviously geographically where you're located might be considered a lot of money, but there's so much money out there and it's flowing all the time and there's always a bigger fish. So you might be scared because you never sold these prices. But again, like if you're using advertising and you're using social media algorithms, it's going to show it. You're not talking to these people individually and having to convince them. The algorithm's going to show it to people who are interested. That's what's cool about it, right? It's going to say, hey, put this ad out, and the people who respond are going to be people who are already like predisposed to buy these types of products. So you don't have to worry about finding them because the algorithms find them for you. So you're selling a superior product. And even if you're still worried about the price, forget everything I just said. When you think about it, like you can't buy, when you look at a cow share, right? And you're getting, let's say 400 or 500 pounds of meat. You're getting a lot of ground beef, obviously. You might get some organs, some fats, and things like that, but you're getting steaks too. And obviously not the whole thing is steaks, but like when you average out the price per pound on a whole cow or a half cow or even a quarter cow, you're getting steaks for prices you can never buy in the supermarket, right?
Mhm.
Like you're not going to get a grass-fed, regeneratively raised ribeye for $12 a pound. That's going to be $40 a pound at Whole Foods, maybe more. Like it's absurd the pricing. So actually, depending on which piece of the cow share you're looking at, they might be getting a steal of a deal, even though you are selling at a premium price. So it's all how you look at the problem, right? And these are the things that need to be anchored. These are the anchors of your messaging. This is what you need to be putting out, right? Like I haven't done this yet, but I want to be like, regeneratively raised ribeyes for $12. And like that's the hook of the ad. Like that could be an ad that you use. And then in the copy, it's like, yes, you get this and you get New York strips and you get tomahawk ribeyes and you get blah 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 and you get all these flank steak and blah 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 and a ton of ground beef and everything else and it averages out to this cost, right? And boom, that's a hook that you could use. That's a hook that anyone could use. And I got a million of these things. I'll keep going. But like it's all thinking about how to position, right? It's all positioning and what's going to grab people's attention. So I just don't take the price thing. I don't think it's a valid concern. I mean, you might think it's valid, but I think you need to look at other pieces of the market, right? Because the people you talk to on a daily basis are not the only people out there. They're not the only people who are interested. There's a lot of people who want to spend money, who are already spending money, and they might be spending more money on options they think are superior that are actually not superior.
Mhm. Yeah, and most people don't even know that it is an option to buy directly from a producer that they can trust rather than at the grocery store, right? I'm amazed at how many people the first time they buy, they're like, yesterday I didn't even know this was possible. I didn't know that I could just buy from someone. I didn't know that there was anyone in my area. This is the most common thing that I've heard over the last 10 years that I've been doing this is I didn't even know there were producers in my area that were raising this product, right? I thought this was like almost a mythological thing, right? Like grass finished or organic or regenerative. And so just the simple fact of, let's say, raising your flag and saying, hey, I exist, I'm in business, I have what you want, and you can get it from me by doing X, Y, and Z, can be revolutionary, right, to a small producer's business. Maybe what we'll do, Chris, is we'll have you write a couple, like 5 hooks, and we'll throw that in a little PDF and drop it so everybody that can go, they can go, after they watch this, they can go download that and they can see more of your stuff through that links in that PDF. We'll do that. So, okay, so we've talked about pricing. We've talked about customer acquisition. We talked about return on ad spend. We've talked about earned media, which is posting on social media channels, paid media. What's one more thing that you'd want to impart today? One more thing that you'd want to share? One more maybe mindset that we need to help people overcome in order to take action? Or it could be an action that they need to begin taking in order to produce results. I'll let you choose.
Yeah, I think a big part of it, and this is why I like daily email. And you don't have to jump into daily email immediately, but what I do is I email my list every day, and I recommend that everyone emails their list every single day. especially if you've already built your list and it's kind of just sitting there. And the reason why is because that is your distribution. That's like your TV show that you own. And obviously, like it's text based, it's not video based. But this is your opportunity to get good at marketing in a very low stakes way because it's free to send an email. You're already paying your email software every month, right? So um, I think that you need to get good at kind of sharing your philosophy on business, on life, on regenerative ranching, on meat, on health, on all of these things, because that's what's going to really build a bond with your people and keep them coming back year after year. And that's what you want because you can get customers for life. You can get someone who spends $5,000 a year with you every single year for the next 3 decades, right? And that's when it gets really fun, right? When you have these returning customers that you don't have to pay an additional acquisition cost for. And I think from a philosophical standpoint, like you need to get good at this because you're giving people reasons to buy. You're getting better at writing ads because copy, right? Copywriting, like the words in an advertisement and a marketing message, that's the language of the internet, right? Everything is copy. Everything you read online is copy. Every single thing, even if it's a piece of content, it is technically under the umbrella of copy. The objective is just slightly different. So I think if you can start writing emails to your list more, that is like the main driver of your business because that is what's going to help you A, get good, and B, just get all the thoughts that are in your head that you're already thinking about onto paper and then use that as a distribution channel. And I think we're at this like critical moment in history um, where again, like meat's under attack. It's under attack every single day. It's under attack from politicians. It's under attack from NGOs. It's under attack from all these, the WEF and all these other, organizations that I think most of them are evil at their core. But they want to get rid of meat, right? So it's like you might think to yourself, it's like there's the side that wins is always going to beat the side that wants to be left alone, right? The side that wants to win is always going to beat the side that just wants to, be left alone. And you have to decide, do you want to win, right? Because your enemies, the people who are enemies of meat, they're not going to stop. They have more media, they have more distribution, and they have an ideology that meat is not good, and we know that it is, right? So like this is one of those pivotal, like you have to get good at this. This is not really an option anymore, and it kind of sucks, right? Like it sucks that you can't just go about your business and do your thing. That's not the world we live in, and I wish it was different. I really do, but it's just not the truth. It's like you could wish that the world was the way you want it to be, or you could play the cards as they lie. And this is, we are in a world right now where we have to play the cards as they're lying, and we have to win, and we have to fight back. Because again, I just think there's so many people out there who just want this product banned, and I just imagine humanity without meat. Imagine what that would do. I think it'd be civilization ending. I really do. So the way that you combat that is with cash. The way that you combat that is with media. The way that you combat that is with influence, is with grassroots marketing to your people and educating your people on the truth. Because you're like, is it brainwashing? Yeah, sure. But guess what? Your people are already being brainwashed. They're already being brainwashed every single day from the stuff they see on social media, to the stuff they see on the news, the stuff they see on TV, the stuff they hear coming out of politicians' mouths that are blatant lies. The brainwashing is already happening. So you can continue to let that happen, and it's just going to ratchet up in intensity, or you could fight back and unbrainwash people and get them to see the truth, right? Because it's the fight's already here. The barbarians are already at the gate, right? They're not miles away. They're already here every single day. And like the way that you win is through marketing. The way that you win is through media. The way that you win is by expanding upon your mission and putting your philosophy out there and influencing people and getting them healthy and getting them into a better mind state. Because when they put better food in their systems, when they have more nutrients, when they're eating animals that are raised the right way, they're going to become healthier. Their brains are going to work better. They're going to think more clearly. Critical thinking will return. I get like really fired up about this stuff because I just see it all the time, and it like really it bothers me. But like you have to get good at this. This is no longer an option. This is no longer like a nice to have. It's a need to have. I'm not trying to like put pressure on people, but I just want you to understand, like if you want to succeed, you can, right? You have the choice, you have the ability, you have the skills and the messaging within you. You can do this. You can get good. You can sell. You can grow. You can scale. All of these things can happen. but it won't happen if you sit on your hands and let the rest of the world push your customers around, right? That is your job. I view this as like you are the Sherpa leading your customers up the mountain to a better place in life, right? And they need you to guide them. They need you to be a leader. They need you to go out there and be at the front of the line fighting, right? And that is what's going to grow your business. That's what's going to take care of your people. And that is what's going to help your people. And I almost view it as like the sacred mission because there's people out there who are sick. There's people out there who don't even know that your ranch exists. There's people who are just going to continue to buy subpar products. And like every day that you don't show up, every day you don't show up, every day that you hide because you're scared either of success or of a failure, those people are getting a little bit sicker. They're a little bit worse off. Another day of their life goes by that they will never get to repeat again. Time, it just keeps on moving, right? Time waits for no man. It's just going to continue. So until you plant your flag and start marketing and start saying, I'm going to be better at this, I'm going to sell, I'm going to grow my business so I can help people in my immediate community, everyone's going to lose until you start doing that.
I think that's probably the best place to end, actually. Thank you so much. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up for the industry, not just today, but overall, in the past and in the future for the work that you're doing and the example that you're setting. And thanks for teaching this stuff because producers need to know, farmers and ranchers need to know how to do this stuff. It's one thing to be motivated and feel inspired and to be committed to taking action, but then also we need help. We need people to teach us. We need people to plot it out, map it out, show us the steps to take, and then set the example. So I appreciate the work that you're doing in the industry. And appreciate you. Where can people find you? How do they get on your email list, first and foremost?
Yeah, if you go to orzy.co, ORZY.co, there will be an opt-in. You get a free issue of my print newsletter, Make It Rain Monthly. I send you a digital copy. It's all about some cool automations you could use in your business to make some sales on autopilot, which is nice. While you're off working on the ranch, sales will be rolling in. But yeah, if you go there, download it. If you have any questions, hit me up. But I got a lot of free content too. I got a YouTube channel. I got a lot of free stuff that people can use to just like. I just want these people to win. I want the ranchers to win because it's a large group of people. We have influence. We could have even more, and we could become a force. And I really want to see that happen because I think that we don't make anything here anymore. You know what I mean? But we make beef. Beef is like it's the spirit of America, right?
Mm.
Like that is one of the big differences. There's a lot of theories that humans evolved once they started eating meat and their brains grew, right? And they became more powerful. And like, it is such an American product. It is the heart and soul of America. It's like so much stuff, so many, entire industries have left, but beef is inherently American. It is Americana, and I love it. And I just want to see everyone win.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me, Cam.